Hello, today I would like to introduce you about the disaster risk reduction and education for sustainable development. In our Asian district, disaster risk reduction is the urgent issues and natural disasters, that is, not only natural phenomena, but also it strongly connected to the human behavior. So let's see these pictures. People show the picture of the kids, and kids say that we have just followed the teacher's instruction. What's happened in this area? And this is the flash news in this April. The Sendai High Court, Sendai is our city, ordered local city authorities, local City Board of Education to pay about 13 million US dollars on the death of over 74 kids in tsunami following the March 11, 2011 earthquakes. And these local city board of education, they failed to fulfill their obligation to revamp a risk management manual. And if the manual has designed a 20-meter high location for evacuation, the death could have been prevented. I think you don't know much about this disaster. I will show you this video.
All across northern Japan, they felt it. A violent magnitude 9.0 earthquake on March 11, 2011. It was centered about 80 miles offshore, and tsunami warnings went up immediately. In coastal cities, people knew what to do next: run to higher ground. It's from these vantage points on hills and in tall buildings that incredible footage was captured. In Kesanuma, people retreated to a high-rise rooftop and could only watch in horror as tsunami waves inundated their city, knocking buildings into rubble and mixing into a kind of tsunami soup filled with vehicles, building parts, and contents. Seawater cascaded over sea walls and into cities. This video shows the water rushing over an 18-foot seawall into Kamaishi City. The seawall here was the world's deepest and largest, but not enough for the magnitude of the March 11 disaster. It was the largest quake ever known in Japan, and one of the 5 largest recorded in the world. More than 28,000 people are confirmed dead or missing. When 2 tectonic plates push together under the sea, the resulting earthquake sends an enormous burst of energy up through the ocean, displacing enormous quantities of water. With the upward motion, a series of waves expands in all directions. In deep water, these waves travel fast, up to 500 miles an hour, but only reach a height of a few feet. A passing ship might not even notice. But as the waves enter shallow waters, friction with the ocean floor lowers the wave's speed, but raises their height. This video is from a Japan Coast Guard ship confronting a tsunami wave in shallow water on March 11. And a rare view from the air, video of a tsunami wave approaching the shoreline. In Japan, some tsunami waves reach as far as 3 miles inland. Japan may be the most seismologically studied country in the world, and with more than 1,200 high-precision GPS stations, a geophysicist at the University of Alaska used the data to create a visualization of the March 11 quake. The waves of displacement that you see were moving as fast as 5 miles per second. In this photo, the ripples of tsunami waves are seen moving upstream in the Naka River at Hitachi-Naka City. New technology left an enormous amount of visual evidence for study in years to come, and can perhaps help us better understand the power of earthquakes and tsunamis and prevent loss of life in the future.
So this video say that the tsunami wave upstream to the river. And this is the locations we mentioned, the school building we mentioned. So the tsunami wave comes from everywhere. Do you think the City Board of Education and teachers are they guilty or not guilty? Anyway, nobody can accept parents their deep sadness and sorrow. In this situation, we need to update the disaster preparedness plan for creating disaster resilient school. So this is the condition after the big disasters. Nearly 20,000 people are lost and missing. Totally 522 students and teachers were lost. So not only schools, regional communities and schools are all destroyed. So this is my analysis after the earthquakes. I can separate three categories. One is the schools directly affected and isolated by disasters. Number two is the school located between the affected area and the safe areas. Number three is the schools located in the safe area near the affected area. Category 1, schools directly affected and isolated by the disasters. It's like this. At the time, there was no communication method. Teachers make a great effort to keep such dreadful scenes away from students' eye. And relief supplies, including blanket, emergency food, were insufficient. And no heating is available. People are afraid. Second disasters, evacuees panicked in the psychological. This is a condition of the category 2. No one was dispatched to support the shelters. It was difficult for the school staff members to operate shelters. The amount of stock reliefs were not. And to prevent the spread of infection were required. Mutual supportive relationship were the key to the smooth operation of shelters. And this is the category 3. The category 3, schools that did not act as shelters, they assumed the function of a relay point of the relief of goods. So once disaster happened, this is the condition of the after 6 months of the disasters. Schools directly affected and isolated by disasters, school districts were obsolete and schools were all abolished. In the middle areas, school buildings and school grounds were used as temporary housing. And the third area, after the disaster, they played a core role in the consolidation of disaster-affected schools. So finally, schools how to work together with local community, and the relationship between community and schools played an important role in establishing and operating evacuation centers. So, as you know, Global Action Program 5 mentioned about the role of local communities. This is the example of our district after the earthquakes. We have many practices after the disasters. And as a conclusion for the destruction of our district, although our area was totally destroyed by earthquakes and tsunami, we can observe good relationship between the school and the local people as the effect of the long-term practice of ESD. Once the earthquake happened, school changed the evacuation center. In our ESD practice area, this work was done very smoothly and successfully because of the good communication between local school and people. So this is my conclusion. A continuation of these practices resulted in a deepened mutual understanding and communication among children and students, parents, community residents, and social education facilities, such as community centers. Establish the disaster prevention program as a part of curriculum for training teachers. The concept of the sustainable development of society proposed by the UNESCO provides important suggestions for the relation building between local communities and schools. It is necessary across regions to strengthen the ability to fight against disasters and contribute to the resolution of local communities through the activity of education for sustainable development. Thank you very much. So this is the introduction about consortium system to create sustainable development district promotion by our ministry. So this is a reference of the book.